Are you looking to expand your aesthetic practice and attract high-quality new patients? Discover the power of digital marketing in growing your practice with a personalized strategy session. Join Ryan Davies, Equa's marketing director, for an exclusive 90-minute meeting. Ryan and his team will invest hours prior to your session crafting a customized marketing plan tailored specifically for your practice. This invaluable opportunity comes at no cost to you, with no commitments attached. Schedule your meeting with Ryan today by visiting www.businessofesthetics.org/MSM and take the first step towards transforming your practice with the potential of digital marketing.
You're invited to join our exclusive monthly webinar brought to you by the Business of Aesthetics community. Don't let this chance slip through your fingers. Secure your spot now for a game-changing experience. Explore the details on our homepage at www.businessofesthetics.org and get set to transform your strategies.
You are listening to another episode of the Business of Aesthetic podcast series brought to you by our gold sponsor, Equa Marketing. If you would like to network and share your experience with our podcast guests and other aesthetic industry professionals, join our Facebook or LinkedIn communities by searching for Business of Aesthetics. Prepare to be inspired as we introduce Ryan Davies, an esteemed professional and seasoned digital marketing advisor at Equa.com, renowned for his expertise in sales and marketing psychology. Ryan possesses a wealth of experience collaborating with companies and political campaigns. He profoundly understands the intricacies of consumer behavior and how it influences purchasing decisions. As a certified Sandler sales and challenger expert, he brings a unique perspective, employing innovative sales techniques that drive tangible results. Without further ado, let's dive in.
Welcome to another captivating installment of the Business of Aesthetics podcast. I'm Ryan Davies, your co-host at the heart of the Business Aesthetics community and podcast show. Before we immerse ourselves in the riches of today's episode, I want to express my profound gratitude to all of you, our incredible listeners from across the United States and around the globe. Your willingness to embrace and share this podcast and your invaluable insights and experiences have collectively transformed our community into a thriving epicenter of wisdom and innovation, and it's your unwavering dedication, which is the cornerstone of our success, and we can't thank you enough. Today, we're going to dive right into our main topic. We are following the Solopreneurs' journey in functional medicine and aesthetics, the strategies that make it work. With our special guest today, Bertha Osorio Campbell. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited for this episode. I think this is going to be absolutely incredible. You've set us up for a great talk, kind of end to end on everything that people have been asking you questions about, looking for us to, and I'm really excited to have this conversation. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited as well.
Excellent. So, I think we should just dive right in here, and I'm going to get you to give a bit of a background on yourself and share a little bit about your journey and how you ventured into the world of aesthetics and functional medicine.
Sure, Ryan. So I'm located in the beautiful city of South Florida, where a lot of us want to be, right? Because the weather's perfect most of the time. When it doesn't want to be bipolar. But so I am a family nurse practitioner by profession. That is what I graduated with. I do have my own practice located in Fort Lauderdale, and it is a blend of functional medicine and aesthetics. So that's where those two things combine. I am the sole owner of this practice, hence the word solopreneur. So I'm a solo provider. I'm the only one there. And I started my practice right at the pandemic, believe it or not. It was right before the pandemic happened. I went solo. And it was kind of something that forced me into it because I was laid off from my job, which was the best thing that could have happened right at around the end of December 2019. So January 2020, here I am like, okay, what am I going to do? And I knew that that was going to be the last place that I was going to work at for someone else. I just didn't know it was going to happen so quickly. I was going to start preparing myself, but it just happened. So you roll with the punches. I began setting myself up. And then I decided to give myself January and February, set myself up. I'll start mobile, go on my own. And then March came, ready to go on my own, and there the world shuts down. So here I am. And so I pivoted and I was doing mobile, and I did mobile that whole year. I did IV therapy. I did COVID testing. I was in people's homes doing this, right? And
Yeah.
honestly, it was really a blessing for me. It was a very humbling experience as well, just because of everything that was going on. But it was also a big blessing because it really gave me some funds to actually like, all right, we have some money now. Let's see what we can do now. And that's when I moved into my own location, March of 2021, where I am currently now. And I've been there for about 3 years.
Fantastic. I've got two young kids, and everybody in our house really loves Bluey. And there's a new episode that just came out this week where something bad happens, and then they go, "That's bad luck," and they go, "We'll see." And and then something great happens because of what happened bad, and then they go, "Well, that's great luck," and they go, "We'll see," right? And it's this up and down. I was listening to your journey right there, going, "Oh, I got laid off. Oh, that's unfortunate. We'll see because it made me do this. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we'll see because here comes a pandemic, right? But then that forced me to do this." So it's this wonderful story of just overcoming adversity, never getting too high, never getting too low. I absolutely love that. And you're in a wonderful place now. And I want to kind of talk about that you kind of, as you mentioned, you started as more of an aesthetics, even COVID testing and, the IV hydration and that side of things into aesthetics and into functional medicine from there. So talk about kind of that integration of the new principles of, going from one and then into more deeper aesthetics, and then especially into the functional medicine and weight loss side of things,
Sure.
how they kind of all complement each other and how you're able to accomplish that.
Sure. So Ryan, I think you have it a little bit backwards, but I'm going to straighten out the whole story.
Perfect.
So when I graduated from NP school, I knew I did not want to go into traditional medicine. It just wasn't something that sat with me in my spirit correct, right? And so a friend of mine told me about functional medicine. And when I started Googling it, I was like, this really resonates with me. This is what I need to do. This is medicine to me, especially growing up with a grandmother that was all about herbs,
Yeah.
and this herb is for that. And this, like, that's what I grew up with in my life. And I was like, yes, this is it. And I also was overweight growing up. Like, I was always morbidly obese. So I've struggled with weight my whole entire life. I finally lost weight when I started to incorporate these functional medicine things that I was working on while I was in NP school, right? And so I was able to lose over 160 pounds. And
Wow.
maintain it off. So that is like that's one of my personal stories that I share with people. Like, I know the struggles. I was morbidly obese my whole life. My heaviest was 298, And so weight loss is always has always been special and very, very personal to me because of that. And then the functional medicine, when she told me about it and I was researching it, I said, yes, 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 and more yes. So when I graduated school, I was lucky enough to go and find an office that they practice functional medicine. And that's where I really learned a lot from Dr. Slavin. That's his name, Herbert Slavin. He has a practice here in Lauderhill. And I was with him and I realized I have to go back to school. This is a whole different language. So I went back and I got my certification in functional medicine. And
Okay.
so functional medicine came first. After I left his practice, I went to work somewhere else, and they were functional medicine, but also aesthetics.
Right.
I hated aesthetics, Ryan. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not like it at all. I was like, why do people keep putting me with this aesthetics, aesthetics, aesthetics? But what I realized was that functional medicine and aesthetics are married. They are definitely in a relationship and it's long term, and they're not like separating from each other at all, right? I was like,
Yeah.
these people are married. They love each other, because people that want to look good or feel good on the inside naturally want to look good on the outside with whatever modalities or things that you have. They want to anti-age from the inside out, but they also want you to fix the outside. And so that's kind of how aesthetics kept choosing me. I'm like, aesthetics chose me. I didn't choose aesthetics because it just kept coming. I worked at this other place after that one, and they were more aesthetics, less functional medicine. But what I found in that I was working with people is that they weren't really giving me the training that I needed. And that's what made me not like aesthetics, is because I didn't feel comfortable. When I finally decided to go on my own, that's when I began to put all of that money, training, and stuff into aesthetics for myself. And now I absolutely love it. So that's how
Amazing.
they all mesh together, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so I had the order reversed. I think it is more traditionally. That's probably me, just bad habit, I guess, or the assumption side of being like, yeah, you go aesthetics and then functional
Right. That's
medicine, kind of up ramp.
usually exactly how it does happen for
Yeah,
most practices, most providers. But for me, it was the other way around.
and you mentioned, a big part of what is your passion and beyond both of those, or included in both of those, is around like weight loss success and helping people achieve that. Obviously, that is a still continues to be an absolutely huge topic in the area. Lots of new developments there, and different procedures and drugs and things that are all being used in that. How do you approach, though, weight loss with your clients from sort of that both functional medicine and aesthetics perspective? Because, like you said, they are pretty well connected from that standpoint.
They are. So medical weight loss is super personal to me, like I said, because I have my own journey. So
Yeah.
for me, it's not here's an injection, here's 4 syringes, have a nice day. That's just not me. For me, it's let's look at your blood work, let's look at your hormones. There's so many factors that can be causing you to not lose weight. So it's an entire holistic approach. When it comes to that, it's looking at what's going on with your gut, what's going on with your iron levels, what about your micronutrients. It's very, very all inclusive. And also nutrition, because what you eat, how you eat, all of those things matter. How your body even absorbs the food, which is what we talk about a lot in functional medicine, matters. You could be eating healthy, but the absorption of that food is just not helping you. And so it's all encompassing with that. The modalities of the semaglutide or GLP-1 peptides, these are things that are used as tools and resources, but the mindset is like the number one thing, that coaching of really learning how to heal your relationship with food. And so it's health coaching, it's nutrition, it's mindset, it's all of those things, it's blood work. And then, as we know, as people start to lose weight, a lot of things start to sag. A lot of things start to change. And so the aesthetics part of it comes into play there, because your fat pads now have changed. Just your structure of your face has changed. I know with me, when I lost weight, I'm still working on a couple of things where it's like, I was so much more firmer. Where did that toe go? And so that's the part of like the aesthetics part that comes in, where it's like, we can work on that as well. We can work on the sagging face and places where you've lost that fat because you've lost weight. And so much things change. And so it's all interrelated and all connected.
Totally makes sense. And I mean, I guess it's like you said, it's this long journey and things to that effect you've been through, both on both sides, right? You've started your own. Before that, you were working in two different, I guess, relatively similar paths, but different in guidance and different, I guess, in areas of expertise, or where they wanted to either get clients from, or where you wanted to kind of treat clients with. But I guess break down for us, especially when you decided to do this on your own during a very challenging time, some of the key lessons that maybe you've learned about running a successful solo practice, that when you first started, even when you were working for someone else, you maybe thought you knew, but you didn't quite have a grasp on at that time.
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of things I did not have a grasp on. Back then, a lot of mistakes that I made. But so key lessons that I learned is that I need to focus on things that I am good at, things that bring me joy, things that I can do effortlessly. I can order blood work. I can go over blood work. I can do Botox. I can do fillers. I can work lasers. I can work energy-based devices. These are things that Bertha is amazing at. Bertha does a great job at these things. Profit and loss statements, not so good. Balance sheet, not so good. calling leads, yeah, definitely not good. You know, I'll call the phone when I do that. Like, yeah, no, that's not your specialty, you know. Um, so I've learned that outsourcing, hiring help in areas that are really important for me is what has made this manageable for myself and also
Yeah.
has allowed me to be a present mother because I do have a young child. I have a young baby. So, yes.
Incredibly important. And again, I do a lot of my area, my background is in marketing side of things and positioning people for that success. And then on top of that, I have a lot of strategy and conversations with especially startups, but also well established on marketing. But with the startups especially, it seems like the message of, did you open this to do what you love to do? Because I'm going to tell you, you're probably going to do so much less of that now.
Right.
It'll stun you, right? Because like you said, now you're doing, okay, profit and loss sheets and marketing and all the, okay, I don't know how to do all of this, but I got to take it on myself now, right? Which takes you away from some of the things you love doing. But that's a great, great point out, a great call out that you've got to be able to recognize your strengths and also, like you said, outsource and be able to, take advantage of opportunities out there and things that are out there to free you up to do the things you love, because the ROI will even be better and your personal life will feel better and more fulfilling. And again, same thing. I've got 2 young kids. I know what it's like and how demanding they can be, how much time and energy they can, and focus that they can take. So it's important to have that fulfillment as well. I know one of the things that you feel very strongly about is working with virtual assistants. And I know many entrepreneurs and solopreneurs consider that as an option. You mentioned, before we started recording, a lot of people ask you about that. So I wanted to really touch on that specifically. Tell us, I guess in this world, what a virtual assistant does, what specific tasks or areas that they can help you with, and the process for kind of finding a virtual assistant that works for you.
Absolutely. So, my virtual assistant that I have right now, Eunice, I have to shout her out because she's absolutely amazing. She's located in the Philippines. And she's honestly I know a lot of people like call their practice managers like their right hand person. They're that.
Mm-hmm.
She's like my right hand person. She's not only my virtual assistant for doing my calls, like following up on my leads, booking appointments for me, that stuff. No, she's so much more than that. When my accountant or my bookkeeper sends me the transactions to clarify for the P&L, I would get like nauseous. So he's like, why don't you ask your, virtual assistant to, I said, I guess I could ask her. So I was like, hey, Eunice, let me show you how to do this. Tell me if you think you can do this. She grabbed that thing so quickly. So now that stuff gets done because it would sit in my email for a while before I would even, get to it to just clarify some of the transactions. She does it right away for me. She picks up on it. She knows it, inside and out. She also makes calls for me if I need to do this, or she's literally my executive assistant as well. So anything that I show her how to do, and most things just require an internet connection and a phone connection, which is very easy in this world of technology that we live in to acquire. So it's nothing for her to do those things for me. She's cleaned out my emails for me. I mean, literally, she's my administrative executive assistant, lead caller. Like, just she does so much for. I don't even think I'm listing all the things that she does for me, but she definitely is a great asset for me. A bunch of hours are, freed up because she's doing those tasks for me. It's going to take a little while to find your magic person. But I feel like that's with anyone. People talk about employees and staff and that is one of the hardest things when it comes to business, which I learned that very quickly, going through several estheticians or going through several front desk or medical assistant. I realized like, wow, this is hard. So just like that, it's also going to take time to find your magic gem. But I feel like the best way is to either ask someone that already has a virtual assistant to ask that virtual assistant, do they know anyone else? Because a lot of times they have friends, and I've helped other practices find virtual assistants through her or through other people in the Philippines that know people,
Yeah.
I also have a virtual assistant that manages my social media. So that's also off of my hand. She does all my reels, she posts all my videos, she posts every single thing. She engages, she goes on Facebook groups and engages with their as it's me, and so that's helping me to even grow and get appointments from that, because it's a strategy. It's a specific strategy that we're doing, and she does that for me. So I don't have to worry about my social media. All I have to do is worry about having, like, just recording it at work. If I see something I want to take a picture of, record, do a video, whatever, send it to her. She's going to do all of the editing. She manages not only my business, but my personal brand as well. And so that is hours and hours of work that I don't have to do. She's also located in the Philippines, and so I found her once again through another person in the Philippines, word of mouth. I did try a couple of agencies. I just found that going through agencies, I didn't really get the proper vetting that they said they do. I didn't get the quality of people, but also the agency takes some of the money from them.
Right.
And I wanted them to get all of the money.
Yeah.
And it's a humbling experience for me working with someone from another country, because their work ethic is completely different from what I have experienced. I'm not going to say what of anybody else. This is just my personal experience. What I have experienced, very, very different, very respectful, very humbling, very open to learning. So they're good at taking constructive criticism. And the experience just has been beautiful for me. I have gone through several to find my two magic ones.
Right.
And I do have another one that does my SEO. And so 3 virtual assistants, and my SEO person, who also updated my website and SEO, is from Pakistan. And this guy knows his stuff inside and out. Because one of the things that I found out, Ryan, is that major agencies that may charge you this amount of money, this is no hit on you, because I know you do the marketing and whatever. But as a solopreneur, my finances are super important and super tight, because I'm a one-woman show, right? So I have to find ways where I'm still getting quality work that is working, and making sure that I'm successful. So it's one of those things I have to really be mindful of. And so what I've learned is that a lot of US-based agencies actually use these people from Pakistan or from India or from whatever to do this type of work. And I'm like, well, let me just take the middleman out of this and just go find myself that person. Let's talk, And so that's where my mindset is, and so that's 3 people right there that I have as virtual assistants: SEO and website, social media management, and then my executive assistant and person that handles my bookings and appointments and calls.
Perfect. And so how did you decide it was the right time to bring someone on board? Because like you said, for a lot of solopreneurs, and again, exactly the area that I work into, is they say, oh, you know what, the budget's not there yet, or when do I commit the budget to this, and things along those lines. How did you make that decision? Was there a tipping point, or were you just sort of at that, hey, I don't want to burn out anymore, and it's time to start to take some things off my plate? Or it may be different for everybody, but for you, what was your reasoning?
Right. All of the above. So I realized I was staying at the office till like 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I realized that I didn't know what was coming in and what was going out with my money. I had no idea what was what. I was in the dark, I also was like, I can't keep up with people that are trying to reach me. There's a certain time you got to get to them, like within the first 2 minutes, or they're moving on to someone else.
Our attention span is, oh, look over there now, that's shiny, and then they're gone, right? That's it.
Right. And so I was like, okay, I'm not getting back to them. My Instagram had nothing, because I had literally no time to post nothing. So I wasn't posting anything.
Yeah.
So everything was getting half-assed. And nothing was really, and then when I would see my clients, my patients, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. They'll be like, you look so tired. And I got
Yeah.
tired of people saying you look so tired. I was like, oh gosh, I can't do this anymore.
I know you mean it in a nice way, but yeah, no, I am. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it was that. And I was like, I can't keep burning the oil at both ends like this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm not growing. And I wasn't. I was
Yeah.
stagnant, and my marketing, I do pay an agency, here, agency money, United States type of money. And
Yep.
my accountant and my bookkeeper are also here. And
Yep.
so there are some things where I definitely keep it, here for that. But it's those other people that allow those things to be successful for me.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's something that people often overlook is yes, it's challenging at the front to go, well, I can't afford that to do that today to make that next step. But there's also, this is an investment, right? Is that it should eventually lead to, if you, like you said, when you find the right people, when you find the right fit, it leads to, wow, by paying this, I actually got 3x back out of it. And now my life's even better. Now I can move to the next level and the next level, right? Whereas you're one person, you're going to cap out or you're going to burn out or both. There's no way around it. You can't invent new hours for yourself. You can't clone yourself, anything like that. So, and it's tough. I know a lot of solopreneurs, again, that I've worked with and that, are in my family that run their own businesses and things like that. They really have a tough time letting go. How are you able to do that? What was your okay, I am turning the reins over to somebody else here. I trust I'm making the right decision, right?
So for me, that's very different because I'm a teacher at heart. So
Perfect. Yeah.
I was a teacher. I taught sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. That was my first job in the public school system. Then I went back and got my nursing degree.
Yep.
And even when I worked in the hospital as a nurse, whatever, I still ended up then teaching nursing students, like teaching them their RN, the associate's program, all of that. So teaching has just always been something that I absolutely love and enjoy doing. So for me, it was not hard at all. It's like, oh, I'm just going to teach this person. I'm going to teach them how to be me. I'm going to teach them
I
how
like
to
that.
do it this way and that. And so I'm a very good teacher as well. I can read the room. I know how to keep people's attention. I am a speaker. I speak all over, so I'm very, very good at that. I'm very confident in that. And I know that I can get someone to the next level once they're open and willing to learn. So I want to let go of, sometimes I feel like I let go of too much. That might be my problem, Yeah, you got to hold back a little bit, like don't be too trusting, like, really a little bit. But it wasn't hard for me because I know that traveling, balance, my children, those are things that are important to me. And I know that in order to get to the next level, we need people. A friend of mine once told me, a very successful guy once was like, Bertha, you can go alone so much, but with other people, you can go so much further. And I always held that to heart, like I have no problem. I don't have an ego. I don't have pride. It doesn't have to be my name. It doesn't have to be my company, like at all. I'm very much like, yes, let's grow. Let's collaborate. Let's do this. And so for me, at least I don't have that. But what I would say to somebody that does, because I know that control thing is a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
I also did work through some therapy. I think every entrepreneur needs to go through therapy. It's super duper important because a lot of our childhood traumas, if there are any, or things that we do can come across as like you're super controlling, you don't want to let go, you're afraid, or you're afraid of failure, rejection, or whatever. A lot of those things are coming out because of things that may have happened at your younger age. So I feel like giving your best to your job, to your profession, to your business would be doing yourself a favor and really just working through therapy through a lot of those things. So I also went through therapy and worked through a lot of things that I had, learning how to deal with people, how to be a good leader, just working on my own traumas. So all of those things also help to let go. Like, it's okay to trust. It's okay to not everyone's coming out to bite you or eat you or, hurt you.
Yeah.
Those are some things that I had to work through, like rejection and all of that. And so that's some advice that I would give is, and I think we just need therapy in general because this is
Yeah.
stressful. This is a lot,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It's enough on its own to
hardest
get
thing I've
through day to
ever done
day.
in my life. This is
Yeah.
definitely the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I don't have anyone else in my family before me because my family's from Nicaragua. So we're immigrants into this country and that. So like I'm this first generation person owning her own business and this. I don't have anyone else that did this that I can look at, that I can say this. So I'm on my own. And I know a lot of people out there didn't have silver spoons in their mouth. They work hard to do what they had to do to get their business.
Yeah.
And so, we just need to be able to vent and talk and let it out and know that your feelings are valid. It's okay, but you can work through it and know that. So that's just, I guess I went off a tangent there, but that's just
No, that I think that's absolutely incredible. Actually, for another podcast that I'm a co-host on as well, we recently did an episode and it was called "Entrepreneurs Know Thyself," and it was somebody who said like, I sucked at being an entrepreneur until I finally looked at myself in the mirror and went, okay, what am I good at? What are my actual shortcomings? How do I face those? What are the demons that are chasing me that I'm scared of? How do I put those into perspective and either work on it or park it because it's not important? I think that is such an amazing call out on your part for, how to be successful and how to continue growth, because personal growth and business growth are so closely linked and we don't necessarily see it. We have this is me as a person and this is me as an entrepreneur, and I try and keep them, but it's not possible, right? You're not a split personality that way. With that, as we're kind of wrapping up here, I'd love to kind of say, crystal ball looking ahead, but for somebody who is prepared and for somebody who has gone through this journey and is at this point, what are you continuing to do to ensure your success? Like, again, being a teacher, you obviously value continuous learning. So I'm sure that's a big piece of staying on top of, what's happening, what's next for the growth and the evolution of your practice and holistic approaches and, what's happening in the industry. But what would you say is a big part of that as well to ensure, again, you're not just, okay, here and now or focused on the past, but managing to look at the next stage ahead for yourself?
So I have Lauren in the office right now. She is my front desk, but she's also a medical assistant. That's also another important factor when you're a solopreneur or solo provider, you're the only one there. Try to fit roles where they have more than one thing, right? They can do more than one thing. So I knew I needed a medical assistant that can do certain things for me while I'm not there or assist me while I'm there, but also manage the front desk, checking out, checking in, and all of that.
Yep.
My next big thing is I want to get somebody else in the office. I want another provider, And so I want to grow to the point where it's justifiable for me to hire another provider. And also freeing myself up where I don't have to be there all of the days of the week would be big for me. And so obviously still working out that marketing, still making sure the SEO, though. So I just like revamping ads, leads, like you're always changing and pivoting with time, with this, with that. So it's adding more budget to things, making, and I know I have to do that because it's an investment that's going to yield me a higher return. That's what I'm looking for. Like I got to get to that next level where I'm booked out. I'm booked out and I can justify hiring another provider. Was that the question you asked me? Like what?
Yeah, just sort of like what your goals are, but what you're doing to ensure those goals are happening. But it sounds like, again, you've set yourself defined goals and you've got things where, again, you're focused on, growth of the practice and your next logical steps and what that's going to mean, how you undertake it and stay on top of things. Because again, you could get so bogged down on what's happening now in your journey or where you've got to. But I know the journey for you isn't just what it was and where you are, but it's where you're going next, right? So I think that's wonderful. And with that, I kind of want to turn it over to you, Bertha, at the end here. Just any, if you're saying, again, you have so many people who come up to you and ask, how do you do it? And how do I get started? What would you recommend for advice? I'm sure you've got a million things you could say to different people, but is there anything that you say just kind of really resonates with you, or you say to, a lot of different people, say, this is something so important if I have one piece of advice?
That is hard, Ryan.
I know. I'm trying to. I know. And again, you're the type of person I can tell that would connect with that person to say, "Hey, for you, this is what I would recommend." Not just generic things, but anything that's resonated with you. Like you said, you've had a couple pieces before where you say, "Boy, that's really stuck with me." But anything along those lines, anything you want to leave our audience with.
So one of the things that I say have helped me in my own personal journey to grow is to find somebody that is where I want to be. And I kind of just made them my mentor. Loretta, Sonia, I'm naming some people, that just are instrumental and pivotal to my growth. Audrey Rose, just they're there, they're at a different level. They're where it's like they have their own buildings, their own this, their own that. And it's like, yes. And I'm open to criticism. I'm open to learning. I know I don't know it all. I'm humble in that way. And I'm always learning. Your education is an investment. That is key. Training, shadowing, going to these things, all of that is investment. It's training. It's definitely something that I would say don't go cheap on. And then outsource things that are too much for you. And that even includes your personal life. I have a nanny for my baby. And that has been a lifesaver for me. You need someone to clean the house, to cook, whatever it is that's going to allow this right here to work better, invest in it.
I like that. And treat it as an investment. I love that. That's a key thing, right? It's not a spend, it's an investment. So wonderful. Finally, last piece, Bertha, because I know we're going to have people who would love to connect with you and get to know you better and things like that. Tell us where people can find you online and visit your website and get in contact with you that way.
Sure. So my Instagram handle is Optimal Healing, the number 4, the letter U. Optimal Healing for you. And my website is the same, Optimal Healing, the number 4, the letter U.com. Once you get to any of those things, you can find all the other links for YouTube, for this, for that. They're all listed there. You can text or call, book an appointment with me if you want to talk a little bit more about implementing weight loss or functional medicine into your program. I also do that. I have worked with other med spas to implement their programs there. So you can always reach out to me. Or if you need help finding a virtual assistant, I can definitely help with that as well. And like I said, you can just book a call with my assistant, say, hey, I just want to book a call with Bertha, and we can just go ahead and talk about it and see where you are and see if there's anything I can do to help you. I don't mind.
Incredible. What an amazing offer for our audience and what an incredible guest you've been. Thank you so much, Bertha Osorio Campbell, for joining us today, for talking to us about your journey, for giving us so much guidance and positivity and a lot of great things to take away from this and how to make our audience's journeys that much easier and that much more in perspective. And again, like you said, talk about not just all the successes, but the things that hung you up to get you to where you are today. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing all that with us.
Thank you so much, Ryan. It was an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed this. I was like, how are we going to get all this in 30 minutes? But you did it. So it
was close. We ran over, but when it's really, really great content, we're going to run over. And I know nobody's switching this off. Everybody's going to be disappointed. Like, no, keep going, go. So in lieu of that, we'll just have to have you back and expand out on so many of the different topics that we just we touched on today. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I also want to take a moment to thank our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you. You know that we can't do what we do without you. So if you like our podcast, kindly share it with your colleagues, your friends on social media. Also, please don't forget to write a review on iTunes or Google Play. It's your thoughts that will help us and other doctors and practice owners find us and bring us more incredible guests like Bertha to share their knowledge with you. So until we meet again, I wish all of you an amazing week ahead. Thank you so much and take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Business of Aesthetic podcast series, brought to you by our gold sponsors, Equa Marketing. Would you like to join our growing group of aesthetic industry experts and get featured on the Business of Aesthetics podcast? Or do you know someone who would love to share their strategies for growth in the aesthetic business, providing quality patient care or their clinical expertise? Head over to www.businessofesthetics.org/podcast show and apply to be featured as a guest on the show. Remember to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen. If you would like to engage with today's speakers or any of our past speakers, join our Facebook group or LinkedIn group by searching for Business of Aesthetics. Thank you and have a great day.